Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. So, it is year 10. We finally are into year 10 of For Honor, and I gotta say, I'm super excited for what's coming. And to kick off year 10, we've got a brand new legendary hero skin for Griffin. And we also, along with the hero skin, as always, got a 3-part lore segment about this, written in a short story format, which I've already read to you guys, called A Warning in Reunion. And I just read it to you guys. Again, if you want to hear me read it, go check out the short story video that I released where I read the lore to you. I'll leave a link in the description. But if you want to read it for yourself, I will leave a link to the actual short story in the description as well, so you can read it yourself. You don't have to listen to me. But why wouldn't you want to listen to me, guys? Come on, I've got a great voice. Isn't it awesome? Listen to the sound of my melodious voice. Anyway, so what we're here to do today is talk about this lore that I read, because I've got a lot that I want to say about it. I don't want to waste too much time, so let's get right into it. First, let's break down what is going on with the lore. What is happening to Griffin? So the lore takes place after Gul'jin has kind of taken over. Griffin is very dejected. He's very upset because he wanted Chimera to stand up and fight Gul'jin and fight the Mongols, but they didn't. They all kind of capitulated. They bent the knee. They said, hey, look, she's offering peace. That's what we were always fighting for. We wanted peace. This peace is good enough. It's fine. It's what we asked for. And Griffin knows that's not the case. He knows that this is wrong, but he's disgusted. He can't convince him, so he leaves. And he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with himself, where he's meant to lie, what he's meant to change. And along the way, while in a tavern, he comes across a stranger who says that he's meant to stand up to Gul'jin and the Mongols, make a stand and fight back, you know? But he's like, I'm just a man. I'm just one guy. I can't make a difference. So he leaves that. And then he hears that the Mongols have taken over his hometown of Harrogate. So he goes to Harrogate to check it out. Turns out it's true. They've basically taken over the town, and so much has changed. And he goes to the center of town where there was this big, beautiful brazier, this huge torch that would be lit in perpetuity, but now it's been turned off. It's been erased. It's been snuffed out. This infuriates him, but before he can start a fight, another stranger walks up to him and says, hey man, come on home with me. I'll take you home. Let's not worry about it. Turns out this stranger was Stone. And if you don't remember who Stone is, he's the conqueror from the campaign. The one who goes, is this a joke? That's him. That's Stone. And when they go back, as they're heading back to his place, we get a flashback part which shows Holden and Stone fighting together, supposedly when they're members of the Blackstone Legion or the Iron Legion, whichever, and they're fighting Vikings, and they're making an oath to each other. Hey, we're meant to live on. We're meant to carry our legacies into the future. We're meant to, so that there's no more embellishment. We'll carry our names and our legacies and our legends into the future. Yeah, Stone says, I give you my word. Then it, in part 3, cuts back to sitting with Stone, and Stone's no longer that young, very excited, very full of himself rookie. He's an old man. He's got a farmer's tan. He works a field, and he's basically saying, Holden, don't judge me, man. If you had been here, if you'd seen what the Mongols did, if you'd seen what we went through, you'd be just as dejected. Look, man, there's no point fighting anymore. There's no point going up against it. We'll just get ourselves killed. You know, and I've got some land. I could use another hand. Why don't you work with me? You can work alongside me. We can work the fields together. And Griffin starts to think, yeah, maybe that would be easier. But then something happens where there's a crunch outside, and it shocks Stone, and he jumps to his feet like, oh, it's okay. It's just the sheep. It's just the sheep. And this pisses off Griffin because he sees what's happened to Stone as a result of all this. He's become a cowardly animal, like an abused dog that jumps at the slightest provocation. Like, Stone may be safe. Everyone in Harrogate and Heathmore is large may be safe now under Mongolian control, but they're now afraid of everything. There's no hope. There's no joy. There's no passion. There's no desire. There's nothing there. And Griffin refuses to live that way, so he gets up and he leaves. And Stone tries to convince him, like, hey, man, what do you think you're doing? What can you do? You're just one man. You're going to upset everything. Instead, Holden goes back to that stranger at the tavern, and he accepts the armor, and he says, I will remind everyone what it means to stand and fight for something. I will find others like me who remember the old legends, remember the old ways, and we will ensure that this peace burns. Now, there's a lot good about this, and I want to focus on the goods before we get into the bads, because there's definitely some bads. Let's start with the goods. I love this direction for Holden. I think this is a fantastic direction for Holden Cross. It's exactly what I kind of predicted, you know? At first, he was a lieutenant of Apollyon who believed in, carrying on Ashfeld and fighting against the Vikings and the samurai. He wanted to destroy the enemies of Ashfeld, but then he started to see that what Apollyon was doing was wrong. She was going too far. She was breaking rules. We can't do this. So he leaves her and joins the Iron Legion and fights back. Then he becomes a vagabond, kind of figuring out where he wants to be in the world. And then when Horkos gets started, he comes back to help start Chimera. He's like, you know what? I'm going to make up for all the wrongs I did. We're going to fight for peace. We're going to fight to bring peace back to Heathmore. But now with Horkos gone and Chimera pretty much being useless, he sees the chance, oh, Ghoul Gene's coming. They're a threat. Chimera, time to rise up and deal with this. Nah, fam, we're good. This disgusts him. He's like, how can you be okay with this? How can you be okay? This is wrong. And now he's wondering, what can I do now, man? What can I do? It feels like every step I take is wrong. What am I missing? What am I not getting? And then it all comes back around to Apollyon's ideology. The ideology of Apollyon was that mankind will always cling to war. We will always cling to conflict. And while he didn't necessarily agree with that ideology, what he does understand is that Apollyon was willing to fight and die for that, and her legend carried on, her legacy carried on, and that's when it clicks with him. Hey, maybe that's what it's about. It isn't about fighting for peace or for war or for control. It's about fighting for what you believe in. It's about taking a stand for something greater than yourself and letting your legacy carry with it. If you just bow out and bend the knee, what legacy do you create other than complacency and weakness? That's why Chimera was so weak, because they bent the knee at everything. They didn't take a stand. They didn't do what they needed to do. That's why Horkos, despite all their problems, lived on in infamy. They stood up for what they were doing and they fought for it. So now he says, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with this nonsense. This peace must burn. And even if I am just one man, I can find others like me. I can't be the only person out there like me who wants to see change. I can't be the only person out there who's disgusted with this. We're going to fix these problems. I'm going to fight, and other people will fight with me. And even if I am alone, you know what? This peace must burn. I like that. That's a good direction for him. The next thing I like a lot of the symbolism here. Like, for example, the Brazier and Harrogate, the big torch. He says it burned in perpetuity, and people would gather around this torch, gather around this bonfire to hear stories of great and brave knights fighting and dying in battle. But now, with the Mongols taking over, it's out. They've snuffed it out. They've burned out the torch. And you see that not only in the physical torch, but also in the spirit of the people around him. Just people who are walking around gloomily. There's no drive to them. There's no passion. There's no joy. There's no emotion. Everyone's just kind of scared of the Mongols, just going with the motions, not feeling anything. The fire has gone out in the people. The fire has been snuffed out. Not just the physical fire, but their fire. Their spirit has been snuffed out. So having the fire of the brazier snuffed out perfectly mirrors the putting out of the spirit of Ashfeld, which I think is very well done. That's very creative. But the one that really got me, what really got me in this was the sheep comment. Okay, so remember when they were talking, when Stone and Holden were talking, and Holden is starting to think, maybe I should just give up. Maybe I should just work with Stone and, make a living. Then there's a loud crunch outside, and Stone jumps to his feet in fear and goes, oh, it's just the sheep. It's just the sheep. I love that. I love that Stone is now a shepherd. He works with sheep. What was Apollyon's word for warriors who gave up? What was Apollyon's word for a warrior who just waits for death?
Do you know what kind of creature waits for its own slaughter? Sheep. Sheep. No.
Thank you, Apollyon. What a beautiful callback. What an exceptional callback. What is Holden seeing here if not a sheep? He may not agree with everything Apollyon said, but what else can he call Stone but a sheep? A warrior who caved, who's now just waiting to die. He's waiting for his own destruction. He may think he's safe, but he's jumping at shadows. Stone may claim, oh, we're safe here. It's okay here. We're no longer at war here. But you still jump at shadows. You're still scared. You're a kicked dog who's now scared of being kicked again. You're a sheep. What was it that Stone said when he was taking Holden away? Come on. I'll even let you feed the sheep. You can join us, man. You can be a sheep like us. You can join the flock. You can just lay down. It's easier that way. Hold on to your life. It's just easier that way. That is great callback. Very well done. I was so impressed by that. Well done, lore writer. If you intended that, that was incredibly well done, and you have my highest praise for adding that. That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. Now, this isn't so much a praise as it is a bit of information that I think I pointed out. The stranger that pops up at the beginning and end, the one who offers the armor, we don't know who that is, and there's no hint at who it could be. My guess is it's either A, the Lord Warden, who may well be the knight hero that comes later in the year, or it's the new samurai hero skin that we're going to see later this season. Quite often, they like to tie in characters from one hero skin story to the other, and that might be what they do here. It could be that samurai hero skin that's going to show up later, or it's going, or is it a Viking? I forget. I'll need to look at the thing again. But whatever the case, this stranger, I'm willing to bet, my bet is it's on the Lord Warden. It's the Lord Warden who's giving this armor to Holden Cross and encouraging him to get up and keep fighting. That is my guess. That is just my guess. Okay, so I think it's the Lord Warden, but that's not so much a praise, that's just an anticipation. But those are the things I really, really, really liked about this. I love the fact that Griffin has come full circle. I love the symbolism of the fire going out, and I love the use of the sheep callback. That was all beautiful. Okay, so now that I've finished singing the praises of this story, and there was a lot to praise, don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of things in it, it's time to take a moment and talk about the negatives. And there are a few negatives we need to address, some very big ones. Let's start with a small one, though. Stone. You made the character that Holden meets in Harrogate Stone. Now, for those who don't know, Stone is a conqueror. He's the conqueror from the campaign. He's the one who goes, is this a joke? When you show up to see him. He's the one who goes, one of us should go home and change. At one point. He's a very popular character. In fact, a lot of people have asked me, hey, Raven, how do you build Stone in For Honor? How do you get Stone's ornament? How do you get this and this and that and the third? I get it, because Stone is very popular. A lot of people like Stone. So making Stone the weakling who gave up, that's going to piss off some people. Now, me personally, it's not as big a deal to me, but I do know that a lot of people really like Stone, so they're going to be bothered by it, so be aware of that. But that's not even my biggest issue. My biggest issue with this is in part 2. Okay, part 2 is a flashback chapter. Now, I don't have a problem with flashbacks in and of themselves, but you have to handle them right. Flashbacks have to be handled very well, because quite often people use them as lazy forms of info dumping. In this, you didn't use it as a lazy form of info dumping, you used it as your obligatory battle scene. It felt like in this, you were just trying to insert a fight because you knew there wouldn't be any other fights in this story otherwise. We switched, think about it, we switched from this very somber, very sad, very dramatic scene of Holden seeing what's become of his hometown, being pulled aside by an old comrade, then cut to, haha, look at us fighting Gimli and Legolas style. It was a little off-putting. I literally had a little bit of whiplash after I switched from part 1 to part 2 upon my first reading. I was like, what happened? So this is a flashback part where we see Holden and Stone fighting side by side against Vikings. Now, question, because your flashback didn't explain it, when is this happening? Are they Blackstone Legionnaires? Are they with the Iron Legion? Who are they fighting for? Who are they fighting? Why are they fighting? What's the point of this? I have to assume it's during the Blackstone Legion days. When did we see during that time that Holden and Stone had this working relationship? Because they seem pretty close. They seem like closest friends. We never see them talk in the campaign. We never see any conversation between them. We never see Stone and Holden having a lengthy dialogue or a long discussion or a conversation. We never see that. We see Stone working alongside the Warden. Stone and the Warden were bros. But Holden and Stone never share any dialogue, so this sudden idea that they're like Gimli and Legolas from Lord of the Rings having a competition of who can kill the most, where did that come from? And then the dialogue was terrible. Just out of nowhere, they're talking about, maybe we're meant to be legacies, maybe we're meant to be legends in our own right. Promise that you'll never let our legends die. I promise, it's my word, Holden. Where did this come from? It felt tacked on. It felt hastily thrown in to kind of throw a theme at it. This was poor. You could have fixed this by having it be literally anyone else. Make up a character. Make it one of the other Blackstone leaders that Holden would have worked with. Make it a random nameless legionnaire that he fought with. Make it Daubeny. That might have worked. But making it Stone and having them have this made-up relationship, this made-up friendship where the two are talking about letting their legends live on, it felt artificial. It didn't feel like a real conversation they would have had. And the reason why is because we know Stone from the campaign. You threw Stone in knowing that we would recognize the name. Clever idea. I'm not faulting you for adding Stone. I'm not saying you shouldn't have added Stone, but creating this faulty relationship hurts. Because I know it's not real. I know it's made up. That's the problem here. The other problem is there's absolutely no context for this fight scene. Like I said, who are they fighting? When are they fighting? Why are they fighting? What's the point of it? And then there's no transition between what happened to Stone from then to now. There's none. After part 2 ends and we go into part 3, Holden does kind of say, "You gave your word, Stone." And Stone just says, "You weren't here to defend Harrow Gate." So that implies that he was here to defend it. That implies that he was part of the defensive garrison. What happened? What did he see? What did he witness? Why did he give up? We don't know. It wasn't explained. And I think that hurts as well. The reason why is because the flashback should have served to give some indication of either their relationship or lead into something new, or maybe indicate that there's a reason why Stone might have given up, or make it even shocking that Stone may have saved Holden's life, or that Stone promised Holden that he would go back to Harrow Gate and defend it with his life, or something. But this flashback was very short, was meant to just show a fight scene and to create a fabricated relationship. You want to know what you could have done? I'll be real. You know what you could have done? Get rid of the flashback. Make it dialogue. Make it a discussion. Watch this. Here. This isn't scripted. I'm just gonna speak like I'm the characters, okay? All right. We're alone. We can speak more freely. Stone. Is that really you? And the flesh. What's left of it? Damn, I can hardly believe it. How long has it been? The last time I saw you was back at the Black Citadel, before you ran off on your own to God knows where. Feels like a lifetime ago now. I tried reaching out to you when I returned. Didn't you get my summons? You could have joined me with Chimera. Chimera? Are you serious? We could have used your help. We could have fought side by side again. Just like the old times. Remember, like in Valkenheim when we were serving under Apollyon? Back to back. Impossible odds, steel meeting steel. Blood mingling in the snow. Yeah, those were good times. I'd have asked for no better comrade then. But here you stand, Stone, a mere farmer? A peasant. What happened to you, Stone? Where's that brave and cocky punk I would have died fighting beside? Times change things, Holden. You start to take the time to realize what really matters. Security, family, love. Family? So you settled down? I had a wife and daughter. Well, where are they? I had a wife and daughter, Cross. Stone. What happened here? What happened to Harrogate? Horkos happened. They came in their thousands. I organized the defense. We held for 4 weeks before the gate fell. And they punished us for our defiance. I watched them execute my family and my friends. I'm sorry, Stone. Where were you, Cross? I sent messages to Chimera countless times to come to our aid, to reinforce us, but where were you? There were complications, Stone. Yes, always complications, always problems. Always wars to fight, aren't there? Holden, listen to me. What's the point of it anymore? You run from one battle to the next, and for what? First for Apollyon, then as a mercenary, then for Chimera. Now you're picking a fight in the street, over your own hometown with the Hatoons? It doesn't end. It's just an endless cycle of war that's never going to stop. And how long can one man live like that? Someone has to take a stand, Stone. A stand for what? What are you even fighting for now? Peace? The Hatoons have given us that. They came in and ran Horkos out. And they don't care that I was former Iron Legion or Blackstone Legion or what have you. As long as I give them what they ask for, they leave me alone. Fighting them isn't going to accomplish anything. What are you even trying to do here? It's all meaningless. Listen, Cross. I have a good life here. And I could use another set of hands to work the field. Why not stay? It'll be safe for you. No one will know about your past, and any that do won't do anything anyway. They won't go against the Hatoons. I can give you my upstairs bedroom, and you can... Stone, you can't tell me you're really okay with this. We were brothers. Brothers in arms, Stone. We took on the world together. But one man can't defeat the world, Cross. And then from there, we could break off of that and go with the way the story went from there. And then you could have it where, the crunch outside and you hear the sound of the snapping and Stone kind of jumps at it and that gets Griffin remembering what he was doing. You could go from there. But notice, and that guys, I just came up with that off the fly. Like, you could have a really cool bit of dialogue that tells what happened to Stone, why he capitulated. You could have this really cool dialogue about Griffin lamenting his time with Chimera, lamenting the mistakes he made, Stone lamenting his own mistakes. It would have been really cool character, but I do know, I get it. These legend blurbs, these short stories aren't really meant to be about character discovery, but more just stories within Heathmore. But I feel like it would have been a lot stronger than just a sudden thrown in, hey look, flashback, they're fighting, they're making promises. Okay, back to the story. It just felt really rushed and really sloppy. That really got under my skin. I really hated that. You did not need that flashback. And if you were going to give us a flashback, you could have expanded on it a little bit more. You could have explained a little bit more the relationship between Stone and Holden. You could have revealed that the two knew each other, like they were both from Harrowgate and they both recognized each other. Like, wouldn't that have been an interesting twist, that they actually were familiar with each other before the Blackstone Legion days? You could have had something interesting like that, but to just do a very quick flashback, have a Gimli and Legolas style fighting competition, and the two just making this out of nowhere promise to each other that's going to be relevant in the next part, just, I felt like it was very poorly handled, which is sad because a lot of the stuff was good. I like the symbolism of the fire going out. That's brilliant. I like the callback to the sheep comment. I think that's awesome too. I thought a lot of this was good, but that bit right there kind of killed it because it was a whiplash. It was like, wha-bam, like, and we're out of it now, like we're out of the flowing narrative. We're taking a break to tell this quick little tidbit because it's important. You need to know about the promise, y'all, and then get back into it. I feel like there were better ways to handle it. There were better ways to do it where you could have extended a little bit on the story and done a better job. But that's my opinion. But anyway, that's the real negative. That's the real issue that I have. Everything else I thought was pretty decent. I thought that it was handled well. But that is my analysis of this lore. Is it bad? No. Overall, it is good. I just feel like there was a part of it that really killed it for me, and it could have been a lot better. But anyway, that's what I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want to hear me read the legend to you guys, read the story to you guys, click on the link down below for my reading, or if you want to read it for yourself, the other link will be down there as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.
for all.